Hey guys, just wanted to do a webinar or Google Hangout actually on some content, some questions had come up over the last few weeks, maybe even the last 2 months or so. And so I thought what I would do is do a Google Hangout. I actually turned my camera so it wouldn't be facing on me because I just got done with a Zumba class. So I'm going to try to get something else for you to look at here, but bear with me because I've never done this before. Doing a Google Hangout, which is live recording, like on the internet, so people can like see it, and I don't know who's out there. So a little creeped out. Used to have a screenshot software where I could do a video or pictures, and it kept messing up my computer and making it freeze up. So I had to take that off there, and I'm actually looking for a new one. So if you know of anything, you're welcome to comment on the YouTube, I guess, or Google Plus, and just kind of let me know of something that will work and be a nice, smooth working program. So what I'm talking about tonight, let me see if I can move this camera and maybe point it at my computer because I'm like covered in sweat. I'm actually freezing because I'm covered in sweat. That's really pathetic. So this is what I have in mind tonight. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe not. Maybe it's too close up. So, I don't know how else to do that. Just bear with me because this, like I said, is my first time. So what I really wanted to get though tonight was the information on the different web pages. No, this is just too crappy. This is just not going to work. So let me minimize that. And then what I did is I pulled up a few. Let me get this back on. Background and see if I can't do a slideshow or something like that. And get something else going there. Well, the camera's just going to give me a fit tonight. So, okay, so what this has come up at least in a number of circles over the years, but lately, you know, I sell Herbalife, and so a lot of people own nutrition clubs, and I don't know that a lot of people that open the nutrition clubs understand music licensing. And I'm not an attorney. I cannot give you legal advice. I can just share with you the things that I do know, the things that I've learned over time, and, you know, just in my experiences with the things that I've been taught, or maybe, you know, what I've heard of other people going through or whatnot. So just trying to bring some ideas to you. What clubs, and of course this is not just about nutrition clubs, but this is how it came about, how the topic came about to end up here tonight, is that within our nutrition clubs, you know, it is products that are, you know, all of our products are Herbalife products, so we can't have any competition, can't have any competing products or things in there, you know, they're not retail outlets. And so, you know, we have to be careful because, you know, we're under the umbrella of the Direct Sellers Association. So if we start acting like we're retail sellers, then, you know, we're not direct sellers anymore, and kind of puts us all in a different bracket, and then things get crazy. So we have to be careful in how, you know, we act when we do our nutrition clubs. And there's this thing that's been going around here over the last maybe, I don't know, few months, where somebody has said that, you know, we're not allowed to have Zumba classes or yoga classes in our nutrition clubs. And, you know, the thing that I guess was really conveyed, or the big scare, is that, you know, we can't have another business being promoted or being sold, I guess. I don't know that that really even sounds right, but within the nutrition clubs. And what it comes down to is this: you know, when you do a Zumba class, you are not doing a cardio. It is a cardio dance. It's a type of cardio dance, but it's kind of specific, and it's using world beats. And so, you know, when you call it cardio dance, you are, I don't think, and it's really kind of debatable, maybe it's up in the air. I'm not so sure that you're covered under Zumba licensing, because the concept of being a Zumba instructor is you are purchasing for the first year the rights to use the music that Zumba puts out. On top of that, after that first year, you either have to renew for Zumba, or you can just pay. It used to be $30 a month. I think it's $35 now. So we pay like $30 or $35 a month to hang on to that Zumba instructor status, and they send us music and choreography. You know, every month they send us something, and you know, that's what's approved as a Zumba instructor. However, if you did a class and you call it a cardio dance, well, you don't have to be licensed to do cardio dance, but you can't use Zumba music because you're not licensed to use Zumba music. By the same token, 9 times out of 10, people just get up and they dance. They're not necessarily thinking about music licensing. And so that kind of creates a huge problem within nutrition clubs. And then another subject along those lines, but yet different, is using just music overall in the club, not necessarily for like cardio dance or Zumba classes or yoga, but just having music, you know, that keeps the club kind of upbeat and happy, and you know, kind of creates a certain atmosphere. And the thing that came about was that, you know, when one person had told me that they would use Spotify, and that since they were paying for it, it was legal. I've heard, you know, other people say, well, you know, I got my music on iTunes and I paid for it, so I can use it however I want because it's paid for. And logically, that sounds good. It sounds like what the average person would think, you know, rightfully so. But it is actually incorrect. And so what I was looking up, and I've got a few things I'm going to read to you, and I'm not going to keep this very long tonight because you don't even have anything great to look at because you got white paper, because I look crappy. But I'll just go through and read some of these things really quick. I'll put it out there. You can do your homework and kind of see, you know, where you're at with things, but you know, that's and you know, I'll kind of leave it at that because, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that, you know, some of our clubs, you know, ignorance, and you know, it's no excuse in the eyes of the law. So we know that's that old saying. So let's see here, and of course, here we go. So let's see. On triggerpulling.com, the article that I'm looking at is playing Spotify music in your shop, bar, or restaurant. And so, what they're saying is that more and more people recognize the importance and influence of background music in retail and, other venues. And of course, people are always, trying to cut corners. Times are hard. Okay, so here's where I'm reading. The problem is that playing music in a retail venue this way is illegal. Even when you have a Spotify premium account or play music that you have paid for and legally downloaded from iTunes. In fact, even playing your old CDs is not permitted. The problem lies with the mechanical rights. So mechanical rights are paid to allow someone to create and distribute copies of the music. It's a costly affair, therefore, music distributors only cover these rights for the intended audience, which is you. When you play music in a shop, you make commercial use of the works and distribute them to a larger audience. The mechanical rights that were paid for this music do not cover such usage. Let's see. Okay, so the Dutch Rights Handling Organization, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, BUMA, Stemra, both confirmed that there is no legal way to use Spotify in a commercial space. You cannot strike your own deal with the rights handling organization to buy off musical rights. So until Spotify decides to cover mechanical rights for both personal and commercial use, there's no way you can legally play music from a Spotify system in your retail enterprise. A solution is to buy your music from a specialized retail music supplier that cover mechanical rights for commercial use. Let's see. And mechanical rights are not the only rights you'll be dealing with. You will also face copyright and performance rights when playing in-store music. Or playing the music. And, all right, so that's probably all I wanted from that website for the moment. And then, and here's an article on quickbooks.intuit.com. And the name of the article is Why You've Got to Pay to Play the Music and the Rules of Music Licensing for Businesses. Okay. Okay. So do you start every day at your cafe by blasting your favorite Beatles tunes? Does your bowling alley host a weekly karaoke night? Do you play your favorite jazz albums over the phone when you put your customers on hold? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, get your checkbook out. It may have never occurred to you, but if your business makes any use of copyrighted music, you're expected to pay in the form of royalties to a variety of musicians. 3 performing rights organizations, or PROs, so here on out you may hear me say PROs, are the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, which is ASCAP, Broadcast Music Inc., or BMI, and SESAC. And these are licensed performance rights for the vast majority of copyrighted music in the United States. It's their job to make sure that every time a copyrighted song is played or performed, the original artist gets a royalty check. PROs focus most of their efforts on big money copyright abusers like TV shows and radio stations, but they also hire agents who specifically target small businesses like cafes, supermarkets, and fitness centers. And these agents will monitor whether such venues make use of radios, recorded music, live music, or karaoke machines, and then determine licensing fees according to the venue's capacity. Yes, you read that right. I read that right. You are supposed to pay royalties for playing the radio even in your bar. Okay, so there's a gentleman who's a BMI copyright enforcer. He travels across country monitoring whether businesses owe money to BMI and collecting the payments from all those that do. A small business that makes little use of copyrighted music may owe $300 for an annual licensing fee, but for large operators like stadiums, the fee could be as much as $9,000. ASCAP and SESAC have similar licensing fees for businesses that make use of their artists' music. Businesses that are sued by a PRO for copyright violation will settle out of court for a lower amount. But dealing with a lawsuit, it's pretty expensive, and it oftentimes shuts down the business altogether. So if you don't want to deal with the expense of paying for music licenses, but don't want to let the music stop, there are other options. So Jamendo PRO licenses thousands of Creative Commons licensed songs for $144 per year, or a year per establishment. And so, let's see. Let's see. The other thing that seemed to come up, let's see if this is the article I'm talking about. Maybe it's this one. Okay. Here's another one from entrepreneur.com. And so what this one says is, when you walk into a business, you hear different types of music, but what's legal? If someone plays music without permission, they're infringing on the copyright, and the copyright law allows the owner to recover damages ranging from $750 per violation to $150,000 if a court decides the infringement was willful. So Peter Strand is an entertainment lawyer with Levins, Strand, Glover, and Adler, LLC in Chicago. And he is saying that there are some exceptions, but in the majority of cases, a license is required to play music in your business. Let's see. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals found a California business violated copyright laws when it played music without a license. The court awarded the Performing Rights Organization, or PRO, nearly $200,000 in damages and attorney fees. PROs hire investigators that visit businesses to see whether songs are played without a license. When they sue, they don't lose, Strand explains. An exception to the rule allows businesses of a certain size, which would be stores under 2,000 square feet, restaurants and bars under 3,750 square feet, to play music from a radio or television or similar household device without a license, provided there are fewer than 6 speakers and customers aren't charged to listen. Other exceptions include educational and charitable functions. So the 3 main PROs were ASCAP, BMI, and SESAC. Just because you get a license from one does not mean you can play anything, because the 3, an author or composer is covered by one, not all three. So Pitbull might be covered by one and J-Lo's covered by another. Then, you can't listen to, both of those people in your establishment unless you have both of those PROs that you've paid licenses to. So, let's see. And, okay, so when trying to calculate your rate, ask the PRO to consider the type of business that you're in, the square footage of the property, and how often the music is played with the amount of consumer traffic you receive. PROs are more willing to work with you if you're proactive in securing a license as opposed to getting caught without one and facing a lawsuit. So that was a pretty good article. Let me see, there's a couple others here. So there's another, this one is restaurant.org, which I know we're not restaurants, but they still have good information on here. And let's see. So they have a question and answer on here, and I think I'm going to read. I'm going to read these because they're really good, and I think that's probably why they're on their lawsuit. Because on their website, because they're really good questions and probably the most necessary. So the question is, if I pay a license to BMI, do I have to pay one to ASCAP as well? Copyright licensing of BMI? And the answer is no. However, if the music is licensed under ASCAP or SESAC, then yes. So, which is pretty much what I just explained to you. So, next question, what are the exemptions for radio and TV? And the answer is, under federal copyright law, section 110(5)(b) exempts the restaurants that play music transmitted via radio, TV, and cable and satellite sources if they don't charge to hear the music. Music played by other means, such as live bands, CDs, etc., are not covered by that exemption. Any food service or drinking establishment that is 3,750 square feet or larger must secure public performance rights for TVs and radios. Let's see. That's probably not going to be very important to most of our nutrition clubs are not that big. So maybe that one's a little over the top for what we're trying to achieve tonight. As the owner of a small cafe, boutique, or shop, you want your establishment to have the perfect customer-friendly vibe. So you plug in your iPhone, Android, or MP3 player into your sound system and queue up your favorite playlist. No problem, right? Wrong. That is, if you haven't purchased the proper music licensing. There's a DC attorney who advises clients on music licensing. Says that small businesses can rack up thousands of dollars in fines for failing to adhere to copyright law by using music in their businesses in an unauthorized fashion. Licensing agencies sometimes send monitors to businesses to observe how owners without licenses use music. If they find you at fault, they'll sue. No, you cannot play a playlist from your iPhone through your business. And it's easier and cheaper to get a blanket license. Let's see. So you would contact the performing rights organizations. The U.S.'s 3 performing rights organizations are ASCAP, BMI, and SESAC. Each PRO issues blanket licenses that allow venues to perform any song in the catalog of that PRO. And you pay anywhere from $200 a month or a quarter, depending on how extensive your business uses the music. And obviously a nightclub would be more expensive than, maybe a retail store or grocery store. So, and then, the gist of the article is, don't gamble thousands of dollars a minute to save a few $100s a month. So, let's see here. Alrighty, let's see. Okay, so there's an article published by the Palo Alto Area Bar Association. It says, business owners are informed if the music sound is clearly audible in the space designated for customers, the playing most likely infringes the music owner's exclusive public performance rights in the sound recordings. So if you use that music, even in a small business, it creates a copyright infringement and is therefore a liability both legally and financially. Let's see. Okay, so that's, and actually I ran into that actual article. I didn't see it tonight when I Googled it for the purpose of this, but I did read the article from the Palo Alto Bar Association, and that was a really good article. And of course, when you're talking about copyright law, this is federal. So it's not that it's differing from one state to the next or county. All of that's irrelevant. So under copyright law, excuse me, unauthorized performances of copyrighted musical works constitute copyright infringement, for which the courts may award damages that generally range from $750 to $30,000 for each musical work infringed. The court may also require an infringer to pay the costs of the lawsuit, including members' legal expenses. Therefore, it makes good business sense to obtain an ASCAP license agreement. Obtaining these licenses is far more preferable than the potential ramifications of performing copyrighted music without proper authorization. If you share the desire to resolve, oh, okay, this is part of a letter. Okay, so it says, if you share your desire to resolve this matter amicably, I invite you to contact me at the toll-free number listed below so we can discuss a mutually acceptable solution. And okay. If the PROs end up suing you, they'll typically win because it's copyright infringement. And I guess it's a, copyright infringement is a topic that's kind of close to me because, I write books and, we're all nice and friendly people, and, we kind of, we want everybody to have access to things, but we also have bills to pay, and so I wouldn't like it if somebody took all my my like a whole book or even a whole chapter and just gave it away, or something like that. So licensing or copyright violations are they're pretty serious, because you're stealing, you're taking something from somebody who worked really hard to put that together, to get it out, or paid a lot of money to a lot of people to make that project come together. So look at it like that. That's what it is. It's stealing. And I know people don't really think of it like that. Maybe that's not your intent. It's not like you're walking into, the grocery store and stealing a candy bar or steaks or something, but, or clothes, but, you are stealing. And so it's important to, make sure that people get paid for what they do, because what they have done in their work is helping you obtain that vibe or that environment that you want your customers to see, hear, feel, and think when they're in your establishment. So it is important to be licensed. And there's some people talk about the the 3 PROs, and call them the music mafia, and maybe it's the way they deal with people, but they're doing excuse me, what they're hired to do by different musicians and even authors and stuff, and that's their job, and that's what they get paid to do. So don't be a liability, and don't act vicariously. Do what you're supposed to do, and don't steal from people. You wouldn't want somebody to come in your business and steal from you. And even in our Herbalife nutrition clubs, you wouldn't want somebody to come in and start stealing canisters of Formula One, or whatever, lift-offs, and things like that. So don't steal from artists. And it's really important. And I think what really disturbs me the most is when you have absolutely zero coverage. I think Herbalife should put out some kind of, I think they should address the issue and put it in their club handbooks, on how to open and operate a nutrition club. And I think that's something that really needs to be discussed, because I think a lot of people, they think, oh, I'm just going to open up shop and I'm going to blend shakes, and that's all I need to worry about. And that's not the case. And so there's a lot of additional responsibility in acting honorably. So, I've heard a number of people, either in person or on Facebook or at, different events, talking about how, when we're using our social media, we have to present ourselves a certain way. And so we're not supposed to carry ourselves badly, or too controversially, on Facebook and things like that. And I'm a little divided on that, because I think you get a following by standing for something. If you're just going to be kind of washed out and just be like a drone for a company, so you can sell some products, then that's probably not even a person I would want to buy products from. So I certainly don't want to carry myself that way. But here's the thing: if you're going to push being this upright, citizen, and just somebody who is not controversial or anything, why don't we teach our club owners to not steal music? Because that's a pretty serious topic, and it could put a lot of people out of business and really hurt them. So pay your music licensing fees. If you're going to have classes where people are dancing, and they're technically a Zumba class, call it a Zumba class, because you're not promoting the Zumba company, but you're covering your own tail for music licensing. At the end of the day, you're covering your tail. If you're going to have Zumba classes in your nutrition club, call it a Zumba class and make sure that your Zumba instructors are not crossing any lines with their music licensing, because sometimes people assume that you have the licenses. And sometimes Zumba instructors will have their own licensing. So make sure that you have an understanding as to what's covered and what's not, and stay within those guidelines, because you don't want somebody coming in and causing you trouble and getting you so legally, neck deep, and financially covered up that you have to close your business down. Because businesses to thrive, to grow our Herbalife business, and to help the community. We can't really help the community if we're getting shut down and sued, and it really would make Herbalife look bad, and any other company. So this is not just about Herbalife, but that happens to be the company that I like to work with. So this, and it's for other small businesses too. So don't get yourself in a situation where you're gonna be hurt, or have to close down, because when businesses close down, it does hurt people in the community. You have people that they really like food or whatever, and if you're closed down, it upsets people. And I think too that when things like that happen, that's when people kind of lose the whole concept of customer loyalty and whatnot. So at any rate, and then I don't know about yoga, because I've never heard of any music that specifically says that you have to call it yoga. But I know with Zumba, when you become a Zumba instructor, because I am one, you are paying for that licensing. So, and you're covered for, certain time period, and, you can use that music. If you call it anything else, then I am not really sure that you're covered, even if you are a Zumba instructor, because it's not being marketed as a Zumba class. So if you're going to call it cardio dance, then maybe you can't use Zumba music, and you better be licensed to use any other hip hop or whatever, music that you're going to play. I think it's just safer, call a Zumba class a Zumba class, and just make sure. And there's ways to look up, if somebody's licensed as a Zumba instructor. You can go to zumba.com and you can search for your instructors, by put in the demographics, your state and how many miles radius and all that, and you can look at all of the Zumba instructors. And actually, if you want to get Zumba in your club, that'd be the way to find somebody who's local to you. So you can narrow down your search and see what you want, and you can pull that person up and call them or email them or whatever. So that's another benefit of using Zumba, because they just have such a good support system for their Zumba instructors. So that's about all I can really think of right now. Music licensing, very important, crucial, and we want to carry ourselves in the best way possible, because we represent Herbalife, or some of these other small businesses. Whatever you're representing, just think of that. You're being a representative of your product, or your own company or whatever. And so represent yourself well, represent your company well, and dig into it. It is a very serious topic, and I hate to see anybody get hurt from violating music license laws and copyright laws and things. And so that's why I wanted to cover the topic. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I certainly don't even sound like one. But I can just tell you that there's a lot of people that are kind of running around in ignorance, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but they just don't know, and they kind of assume that since they paid for it, it's legal. And so, I wanted to address it, and it's something that can be shared even if you just have a white background to look at and you're listening to my voice. My apologies. But, it is a topic that is worthy of being checked into. Do a Google search and just read up on the articles and see if what you're doing is legal. If you have questions, you can always contact ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, or all of the above. You don't even have to tell them who you are, where you're from, or the name of your business. I'm not asking you to, go and self-report and, basically, flag yourself. But, call them and ask them your questions and, see what it is that you need. And then, it would be good to see it on different venues, where people are saying, okay, we have 1,500 square feet, we have 2 speakers, and, we have seating for 12, and this is what they charged us. This would be important. By the same token, I'm also going to challenge Herbalife International to address, this, putting this in their handbook for future club owners, and also to address the whole, Zumba classes versus cardio dance, because I think that in, trying to call it something else to avoid advertising another business, which you're really not, because you can't sell Zumba to begin with. I mean, people can come in and figure out, how you can offer free fit camps and things like that. We don't even charge for them. So, but at any rate, if you're having these classes, I mean, just make sure that you're teaching people, what's acceptable and what's not. But for people to run around and say that they can't do Zumba classes because they're building another business is absolutely just not true. It's not even logical. You can't even try to look at it from another point of view and see the logic in it. So that would be my challenge to Herbalife International, Herbalife, whatever. And I guess that's probably all I've got. And if I find anything else, I will put it up. But to answer the most basic of questions or things that I have heard and seen lately, Spotify is not okay, Pandora is not okay, iTunes is not okay, your playlist is not okay, whether it's paid for or not. These are not okay to use in your businesses. You have to get the licensing from these PROs. And, then that way you don't have to worry about what you're doing. And if you want to call it a cardio dance class instead of a Zumba class, then hey, knock yourself out. Just don't play Zumba music. And another thing that came to my attention is, people that do like DJ things, to put some positive music together that's maybe good for a club. And I'm not going to call out any names or anything because I think they all mean well. Maybe they have licenses, maybe they don't. But even still, it does not extend to you. So playing their playlist or their version of how they run it all together is not covered. So you do need to get those the licenses, and then once you have those licenses, you can play Pandora and Spotify all day long. But you have to get that proper licensing. If not, you may put your club and Herbalife in general in jeopardy. Please do not do that. That is all I have tonight. Y'all have a great night, and I will follow up and put more content up soon.